The boardroom is full when Kai Sung says it. 43rd floor, floor-to-ceiling glass. The kind of room where the Manhattan skyline sits in the background like a painting that cost more than most buildings. 12 people around the table. 3 partners from Seoul. 2 attorneys. A room that has witnessed contracts worth hundreds of millions and has never once witnessed anything like what is about to happen. Kai stands at the head of the table. He does not raise his voice. He never raises his voice. He simply looks at Imani Cole, who is standing at the presentation screen with a laser pointer in her hand, and the quarterly event strategy she has spent 11 days building displayed behind her, and he says, "Your services are no longer required. Please clear your desk by end of day." The room goes so still it feels like the air has been removed from it. Imani lowers the laser pointer. She looks at him, not with panic, not with the tears the room is quietly bracing for, not with the trembling that comes when someone's world falls out from under them in public. She looks at him with the specific, measured calm of a woman who has been waiting for a signal she already understood was coming. And then, and this is the part the room will not stop talking about for the rest of the week, she smiles. Not wide, not performed, just real, the way something is real when it costs nothing because you have already decided you don't need it. She sets the laser pointer on the table. She straightens her jacket. She looks around the room once, at the 12 faces holding their breath, at the sole partners who haven't blinked, at Soren standing by the door with an expression she cannot fully read. And she says, to no one in particular, and to all of them at once, "Thank you for the opportunity." Then she walks out. Not fast, not slow. The specific pace of someone who knows exactly where they are going and has no reason to rush. The elevator opens. She steps in. The doors close. Behind them, in the boardroom, nobody speaks for a full 8 seconds. Kai looks at the presentation still running on the screen behind where she stood. The event strategy, the venue projections, the client retention numbers she had rebuilt from 40% to 81% in 14 months. He looks at it for a long moment. Then he closes his laptop. He says something to the Seoul partners about rescheduling. His voice is even. His expression is correct. He handles the rest of the meeting with the precision of a man who has been trained to handle everything precisely regardless of what it costs him. But Soren, standing by the door where he has stood for the last 12 minutes, watches Kai's hand on the table. Flat. Still. The way things go still when they are holding something in that they cannot afford to let out. He has worked beside this man for 9 years. He has never seen that particular stillness before. And he already knows, before the meeting ends, before the elevator reaches the lobby, before Imani Cole steps out onto 5th Avenue and tilts her face up toward the November sky, like someone breathing for the first time in a long time. He already knows that today is the day everything changed. He just doesn't know yet in which direction. Imani Cole did not get the job at Sung Group Properties by accident. She got it the way she got everything, by being the best person in the room and making sure the room knew it without her ever having to say so directly. She had spent 4 years at a mid-size events firm in Midtown, building a portfolio that her supervisor took credit for twice, and she let him, because she was paying attention to something more important than credit. She was paying attention to how rooms worked, how people moved through them, how the right environment at the right moment could shift a negotiation, close a deal, turn a reluctant client into a loyal one. She understood events the way architects understand buildings, not as decoration but as structure, as a system designed to produce a specific outcome in the people who moved through it. She was 28 when she applied to Sung Group. She had heard the company was difficult, the standards were impossible, and 3 coordinators had left in the past 18 months. She sent her portfolio on a Tuesday. She got a call on Wednesday. She had the job by Friday, which was either a good sign or a warning, and she had decided to treat it as both. Kai Sung she met on her 3rd day. Not formally. He walked through the event floor during setup for a client dinner she was coordinating, stopped, looked at the table arrangement she had modified from the standard layout, and said nothing. Just looked at it. Then looked at her. Then walked on. She went home that night and told Britta about it, and Britta said that sounded ominous, and Imani said she thought it sounded like someone paying attention, and Britta said those were sometimes the same thing. Britta was usually right. In 14 months, Imani rebuilt the events division from something the company tolerated to something it led with. She renegotiated 3 venue contracts that had been bleeding money for years. She introduced a client relationship system that cut repeat complaints by 60%. She redesigned the quarterly galas that Sung Group used to court new partners, not just aesthetically but structurally. So the flow of the evening guided people naturally into conversations the company needed them to have. The Soul partners noticed first, then the New York board. Then, she suspected, though he never said it directly, Kai himself. He was not an easy man to read. She had stopped trying after the first month and started simply paying attention to what he did rather than what he said, which was considerably more informative. He approved her proposals without revision, which was unusual. He routed certain client accounts specifically through her team, which was deliberate. He said her name correctly on the first day and every day after it, which sounds like a small thing and is not. She had not been naive. She had understood what she was building inside and understood who she was building it for. She had kept every wall exactly where it needed to be, which made what happened in the boardroom on a Tuesday morning in November not a surprise. Just a confirmation of something she had felt coming for 3 weeks. The thing about Chairman Sung was that he never announced himself. That was his particular method. He operated through systems already in place, through people who owed him things they couldn't put in writing, through the quiet removal of options until the only path left was the one he had already chosen for you. Kai understood this better than anyone because Kai had been one of those systems for 34 years. He had been built by his father the way his father built everything, efficiently, precisely, and with zero tolerance for variables that hadn't been approved in advance. Imani Cole had not been approved in advance. Chairman Sung arrived in New York from California 3 weeks before the boardroom. He did not announce it to Kai. He announced it through a dinner reservation at a restaurant Kai happened to own, which was not a coincidence. They sat across from each other in the private room, and his father ordered without looking at the menu and said,